Cold chill up your spine. You'll get your ass moving some with burning daylight.
Howdy there. I'm Matt McKinley, and we're burning daylight.
In the saddle till the job's done right.
Welcome to Burnin' Daylight, the only podcast for the working cowboy. Well, howdy there, daylight burners. Welcome back once again. We got a special guest to the show. She's a little shy, but not when you put her on a bucking horse. She'll go ahead and stick one right in the neck, and some of the fellas will say she looks good doing it. So, Brittany Miller, how the hell are you tonight?
I'm good.
You're up in Montana. Is that where you're from originally, or where the hell are you from?
I don't know how to. I'm not really from one place. Was born in California and then lived in Missouri for a while, and I've been in Montana for 12 years now.
Missouri, huh?
Yeah.
Like backwoods Missouri, or
west of St. Louis.
Okay. So that's like central Missouri then?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know much about that part of the world, but and then back to Wyoming?
No, never lived in Wyoming.
Oh, okay. All right, back to my but you're now in Montana. How long
Yeah,
have
I've
you been
been
up there?
12 years.
Oh yeah, okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
What brought you to Montana?
I came out here for college and just never went back.
Okay. Whereabouts for college?
I went to college in Dillon and did the horsemanship program there.
Oh, okay. And is that when you started getting on Broncs, or did you get on there before those?
I got on Broncs my junior year of college, so I was about halfway done. And actually, my first bucking horse was actually an all women's event. So I entered. They had a women's ranch bronc, a memorial rodeo for a gal that passed away in Idaho, and so that was actually my first one, was competing against women.
Oh, okay. Did you win it?
Yep, I did. I actually won my first one, and that's what lit the fire. Yeah, that's what did it.
Did you get a buckle and everything?
No, that one didn't have a buckle. No, just money.
Oh, well, I mean, money's almost as good as a buckle. You just can't show it off later. That shit disappears pretty quick, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and was it ranch bronc? I like, if I remember right, you said you've never actually done saddle bronc. You've just always been ranch bronc.
Yep, just strictly ranch bronc riding.
Well, it's more practical than than saddle bronc. Saddle bronc looks. I mean, that's the prettiest event in all of sports, I think. Like rodeo or otherwise, I think saddle bronc's the prettiest event. But if I had to go watch something, I'd rather go watch a ranch bronc, because it's they're that's regular folks doing it.
Yeah, and I think it's a little bit better. Like, saddle bronc is the modified ranch bronc riding, and so it's the art form. Yeah, it's the modern day bronc riding, and it's at such an elite level anymore with the PRCA and NFR and stuff like that. But if you want,
it went from being cowboy shit to being a sport,
the pro and into and it's so. But ranch bronc riding is wild, and pretty well anyone can do it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what makes it fun. Everyone's got their own style.
Yeah, for sure. So, when you were in Missouri, like, did you grow up around horses and cattle, or I know, because Missouri's a big cow state, but they're all like little bitty herds, it seems like.
Yeah, they're kind of a smaller ranch state. It's more agricultural and farming than anything, but I didn't really grow up around horses, I suppose. I had to go out and learn, and I used to clean a 40 stall barn in exchange for an hour lesson to learn how to ride a horse. So looking back at it, it was kind of some slave labor there, but yeah,
well,
that's how
most
dedicated
agriculture, ain't it?
that's how dedicated I was to being around horses. I would take the bus home after school and not do homework just to go clean stalls and ride a horse or a mule for a couple hours and then go home.
Yeah, I see. And so then you went off to college, and there was a horsemanship. So that'd be like Lamar Community College, kind of the same type of program. Is that a horse training program, or what was that?
So Dylan is actually solely, I'm pretty sure, still and uniquely, it's a hands-on college, and so that's where they kind of really pride themselves on it is the hands-on experience you can get there. But the horsemanship is horsemanship is the art of riding a horse, right? It's based on communication and body language and understanding a horse's psychology. And so as far as I know, still it's been, I mean, I graduated in 15. It's not like it's been that long, but Dylan's the only one that offers this kind of a program. As far as I know,
and it's horsemanship is the name of the degree.
Yeah, natural horsemanship. So you can get your associate
okay.
or your bachelor in it, and
you can get a bachelor in it, huh?
Yeah, it's a 4-year program, and they've changed a lot of their classes, and they've added a lot of really cool classes that I kind of want to go back to college just to take, because it was still fairly new when I went, and now they've done so much restructuring and added tons of courses and really fun deals to it since then. But I've been out of touch for a while.
I see. And I know it's improper to ask a lady her age, but we already talked about your weight beforehand. So how old are you?
I'm 30.
30. Okay. So yeah, you've been out of college for a little bit, and
yeah,
it's amazing how much college changes once you get out. Like you really it's all like the same thing while you're in, and it seems like, and then like once you leave, it's just like I don't remember.
Yeah, it seemed
any
like
of
once
this
I
shit
left
being here.
it got better. I was like,
yeah,
well, I want to do all these classes now.
Maybe for you, Colorado State just got worse. Like it just turned way more hippie.
Yeah, I haven't really been around Dylan a while.
Yeah, like there was some cool stuff that happened at the ag college there at CSU, but for the most part, it just it got like really really hippie-ish. But so did you do the 2-year or the 4-year degree, or did
I
you
have a bachelor? I did the 4-year, and I have a minor in psychology.
Does Pat Pirelli sign off on the natural horsemanship degree? No.
Yeah, we didn't.
You could probably sell that for some money if you did.
None of the time that I've spent there we ever talked about Pat Pirelli, not even as an example for something else we were talking about.
I would imagine not. I just that for whatever reason he's like glommed onto that term natural horse. And don't get me wrong, Pat Pirelli's a fucking hand. That guy can ride a horse, but he's an even better marketer than he is a horseman, you know. He's just he's a marketer deluxe. But
yeah, they kind of figured that out in that era, and then Buck Brenneman was kind of a part of it too, and that started taking off and whatnot. And like I said, I don't know what it is now, but when I went to college there, it was Buck and Joe Walter and Ray Hunt and Tom Dorrance, and so they kind of followed those methods and teach kind of under their ways, I suppose, if they had to pick a name for it. But some old school horsemen.
Well, and I mean those are good guys to follow. I mean Ray Hunt and Yeah, Buck Brandon's also a very good marketer, but he's once again he's a very very good horseman. Like that guy knows what he's
Mhm.
doing, and like same way with Pirelli. Like I won't ever talk bad about the guy as a horseman. It's just it's always his disciples that get me. You know, like
Yeah,
the like
the
45-year
crazies.
old lady that weighs about 400 pounds and has a 6-year old unstarted untouched Mustang that she's gonna make her forever horse. You know.
Yeah. The amount of crazies that come out of that. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't help it. It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
But
because everything the trainer is saying, like if you can actually ride it and know how to be around the horse, like what they're saying makes a lot of sense. But
mhm.
yeah, then there's like I said, there's Karen on the side that'll
Yeah, you try to do good, and there's always a crazy out there that'll take it to the extreme.
oh yeah, I got a message from the animal services today because I've got a 30-year-old mare that's kind of a pasture ornament and she's got an old hip injury, so like she picks up her hind leg and does the little like she looks like she's string halted kind of,
Oh yeah,
but it's just an old roping injury, and she's like literally like 30, so it's been a
yeah.
rough winter, and I was like, she's fine, I promise you. Like if she was not good to go, I would have shot her already, but
Yeah.
she's fine, you know. But some little old lady's like, that horse looks skinny. And like, yeah, she is because she's
Yeah,
old.
they're not supposed to
She's
be
old.
fat when they're, that old.
Yeah, well, and especially winter. I mean, like,
Yeah.
man, like humans are the only people that gain, or the only animals that gain weight during the winter. Like everybody else, every other animal gets skinny because it's tough living. You know, we just
Right.
we've learned how to stockpile food, so we can
Yeah.
gain weight in the winter. I mean, I guess you ladies aren't supposed to, but I pack on some winter pounds. Um,
That's how I am in the winter, and then I'll lose it in the summer because I rodeo so much.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't ask that about for all you ladies out there. I didn't ask that. She offered it on her own, okay?
Yeah.
um so so growing up in Missouri, like I would imagine you had like a little like a trail saddle to start with if you weren't involved in the cow calf business or in the cattle business.
I didn't own a saddle. I just borrowed everything.
Oh, okay. And
The
so
first
so
saddle
you
I
rode
bought,
everything, huh?
yeah, started out in English and rode Western on some cheap saddles that the gal had there, and I didn't buy my first one until I moved out to Montana. So everything that I am now is things that I taught or worked hard to get.
How's the English riding? I bet that's where you built your balance.
Yeah, and I probably should go back to it.
I keep
um,
thinking I should buy an English saddle and try riding it around one day because
it's pretty weird.
yeah,
It's
you know, it looks gayer than shit, but then like if you actually get past how weird it looks and you watch them move and you're like, man, they're strong and they're like from their
mhm.
hips up, they're strong. Like that takes and especially if you watch one of those horses bust in two and you don't have anything in front of you. You just got to ride.
Yeah, it takes an incredible amount of physical discipline to ride an English saddle and ride it well.
Yeah.
I have so much respect for uh, anyone I see on social media riding horses in English or even competing in English saddles. That's a whole world that I could never be in. I
No,
would need
my
a whole
my
nother life. I would need a whole nother life to just to get involved in that world.
yeah. So I was talking to Tommy Cassell here earlier today, and he does a lot of the like the fox hunter stuff, and then my oldest sister does hunter jumper stuff, and I will never not make fun of them for the stupid breeches that they have to wear. But they can definitely ride, but we make it look cooler than they do. Like
Yeah.
you get it doesn't matter if you're riding a weight or swell fork or whatever, if you got silver or not. If you're riding a cowboy saddle compared to an English saddle, you're gonna look way cooler. Especially like a good built western saddle. Like I said, doesn't matter what the swells are, if the weight or swell fork, it's gonna look better than that English.
I'm just glad we don't wear tight clothes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, tight enough to where they don't hang on into anything, but yeah, not the britches type deal. Like that's,
Mm-hmm.
mm. And I mean, I don't know about you ladies, but I could probably use the padded butt, but I don't want it. Like I don't have much of an ass, so like I could probably use the extra padding back there, but it'd look weird.
I'm
You look
not
like
physically
Joe.
confident enough to wear any of it.
Yeah, you gotta. I don't know shit. Like you see little old grandmas little old grandmas and big old grandmas wearing leggings nowadays. So I feel like it's just one the next step is they're all gonna be wearing riding pants.
Oh man,
Not you.
no, I don't even want to picture that or go there.
You don't have to. You just gotta search it on Google, and I guarantee you it's already up there.
Mm.
I don't guarantee, but I would bet good money that it's already on. I haven't searched it, but I just from real life experience, I've seen some big old grandmas that should not be wearing leggings that are definitely wearing leggings, and you're just like, oh no,
I
don't.
live in town and I don't even see that stuff, so I don't
Uh,
know.
oh man. Well, count yourself lucky. It's a moo is way better than leggings when they get to that big and that old. Just like wear a moo. That at least you
I
don't
don't
have
even know
to.
what that is. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's like those big saggy dresses
Oh,
that don't
okay.
show any shape at all. Yeah, like
Huh.
that's just a better option when you're that big and old. You know, when they're 4 foot tall and also 4 foot wide.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, the good ones, you know.
Huh.
I don't know how we got off on that topic, but so you go out and you win your first ranch bronc ride, and then you're hooked, right?
Mhm.
And so then where'd you go from there? Like how did you go about starting this whole deal that now is Brittany Miller?
I so after that first one, you want to do it again.
Mm,
And so I get a lot of questions about, oh, how'd you get started? And I got started not the best way. Theoretically, you would go to schools and learn how to do it and practice, and then start entering novice rodeos, open rodeos, amateur level, and then you kind of start advancing, right? That's how a smart
well,
person would do it.
that's how they do it nowadays, but like
It's how a
not
smart
that
person
many
would do it.
not that
When
many
I
years
did it,
ago that wasn't an option. So
yeah,
you
when
kind of
I
did it
did
the
it,
old
it
school way, huh?
wasn't heard of. And so there was like 5 women in the entire Western states that I knew of from social media that rode or got on at least one ranch bronc. And so I honestly, Facebook has been the absolute best resource to use. Facebook is the Google for finding rodeos, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, you click a ranch bronc riding or ranch rodeos, and I entered literally everything I could find. Didn't know the horses that were too much for me. I did not think about that. It was just a ranch bronc rodeo. It was open. I could enter it. I called and I could enter, but if I had $1 for every time I got asked if who I was calling in for, I wouldn't need to pay entry fees for a while. But so, and I bucked off like 20 head before I ever covered one again. So, but I just kept going, and that's pretty well it. Had to I figured it out as I went. Only now do I understand that you probably shouldn't just enter every damn thing you see, because some of them horses are a bit much for you, and there is such thing as a too much caliber of a horse. So you gotta know your contractors and know the level of horses that they buck at these rodeos, whether they fit where you're at as a rider. So now I understand how to do it the smart way. But
Yeah.
my
Well, and
passion got a hold, and I was a bit too greedy, but it worked out.
well, there's this big move nowadays where like women can do anything that men can do, and I think
Yeah,
for certain women that's true. But like we were talking earlier, and you were saying like you're a big girl. Like, how tall are you?
I'm almost 6 foot tall.
Okay, so yeah, you're like an Amazon woman,
Yeah,
and I mean that like respectfully, like
yeah,
you're taller than I am, and there's some, and just like there's some men, but there's a lot of women that just have no business getting on a bucking horse, and
yeah.
I think I always you know I always kind of give that accept, like there's a few women that can really ride a bucking horse, and I've seen a few, and you're one of them, and that like that there, but they're really few and far between. I've seen a lot of women get on a bucking horse
Hmm.
on social media, and 95% of the time it turns out really bad. Like
Yeah.
I've seen some wrecks on Facebook, and but same way with dudes, but you don't have the same sort of like, oh God, with a guy. Like
Right,
you don't
because
have
they
that
could just handle it.
yeah, well, even if they get hurt just the same as a lady, like you don't have the same like shock value, I guess. And
Yeah, it's all that's always going to be there. That's just how it's been for hundreds of years. Yeah,
yeah.
and um I noticed that too with a lot of women, and I try my best to, if they message me, or I'll try to message them, and give advice, but there's only so much you can do through text message. It's the rest of it either needs to be taught, um or something. They're like there's this missing link with women in rodeo. Um and I actually did something about that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, and is this your school that you're doing?
Yeah, so I started kind of a school, but I threw a business name onto it. And so um because over the last so I've been riding ranch broncs for 8 years, or nine. This is 9 years this year. And when I started, like I said, there was like 5 women that got on a ranch bronc, or however. And so it was still pretty new concept when I started in 14. And now to date, I could count probably over 100 who have been
Yeah.
on a ranch bronc, or who have been on 10, 15, 20 broncs, and still want to do it, but they get hurt or something happened, and you get married, have kids, yada yada yada. And so um there's this incredible demand for women to wanting to learn rough stock, like not bull riding, but they don't want to rope, they don't want to barrel race, but they want to do something. It's saddle broncs, like you said, kind of the elite in the bronc riding
Mm.
world. Ranch broncs are the gateway into rough stock. And so,
Well, and that's the most cowboy sport there is the
and
ranch bronc.
yeah, and it's traditional, it's original, it's wild, it's just really cool, because I mean, I'd like to say anyone can do it, but they really can't. Not anyone can just ride a ranch bronc, right?
No.
Anyone can get on a ranch bronc, but it takes some skill and some talent and some passion to actually
Oh, for
ride
sure.
ranch broncs.
And
So,
not be afraid to hit the ground. That was
yeah, and
me. Like I've rode a lot of colts, and I'm sticky enough to where I can get them circling a little bit. But I don't like to hit the ground, and unless you got a really good pickup man, if you're riding saddle bronc, ranch bronc, you're hitting the ground at some point, and I just really I don't like that. I don't mind riding a bucking horse, and I like I'm confident enough that most of them I can stay in the middle to get their head snatched around. But
Yeah.
yeah, whether that's 3 seconds or 8 seconds, I don't know, but it all seems like a lifetime when you're on there.
Yeah. And the hitting the ground is 50% of it too. Like if you
Yeah.
you can't go get on a ranch buck and be afraid to hit the ground. Like it's
Oh,
there. You're either going to ride or you're not. And so learning
that's
how to
one.
ride is also learning how to take a hit. And so if you're not
Yeah.
physically able to take hits and hit the ground and get up and go behind the chutes and then cry, then then that's a whole nother topic. But you
Now,
got to be able to
Brittany,
take hits.
we are a politically correct show here, and I don't want to give women advice on how to take a hit. Okay, we're very politically correct. I'm teasing. That's one thing I've noticed on a lot of like I was saying, like the women that have no business being on a horse or on a bucking horse is the dismount. Like
Mhm.
everybody gets ragdolled, but it just some of them like when you see them just land like spread
Yeah.
eagle, and you're like, oh,
And
that's
that's something that I teach in my schools too. It's not just about riding, it's about what you do after you ride. Because
tuck
riding
that
the ranch bronc
shoulder.
is easy. It's 8 seconds. That's you get to show off, have fun, and just that's all the easy work. What's hard is, you know, you didn't quite make the picket man, you hit the ground, you need to get up. It don't matter if you're winded or not. You got to get up and go behind the chutes, because being a woman makes it that much harder too, because you
Oh
can't
yeah.
you
Well,
can't just
everybody
lay out
expects you
there
to
and
cry
catch your
too.
breath, because then they're like, oh well, that's why you shouldn't ride. And or there's always they focus on that one bad thing. You could do 100 things right, but you mess up one time, and that's all people remember you for. So being a woman puts that kind of a standard on you, but it's not. I don't know. It is what it is. I don't really think or care much of it. It's how the world is.
Yeah.
How it was in the 1900s too.
Well,
A
like
little
back then, you
worse.
just you rode or yeah, like yeah, it was a little bit different back then. Like
It
you
was a
had
little
to
worse.
ride.
The gender roles played about 90%
Well,
in
you were
how a woman
basically
acted. So
property 100 years
yeah,
ago. So,
yeah,
I mean,
a little
well,
different now.
I say 120 years ago, I guess. Yeah, you were essentially just property back then.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's a different thing when like when you're getting on a bucking horse, like a sure enough bucking horse. Like that's a different deal than getting on a snorty colt. Like I've had some
yeah,
I've had some colts that can sure enough buck, but most of the time they had a bit in their mouth too. So like that's
yeah,
a whole different deal. But like when you're getting down in the chute and like that horse has a flank strap. There's only one thing he's supposed to do is get out there and buck. That's a
hmm
little different story. And yeah,
yeah.
like you better have your wits about you.
I'd rather, and there's a lot of similarities between a colt bucking and a round pen and a bucking horse, right? But I'd almost rather take the bucking horse, because I know what they're gonna do. They're gonna buck
Mm-hmm.
and they're gonna quit, versus because they're trained to do it. They have a routine, they have a pattern, they have a
Mm.
certain way that they like to buck. Versus a colt and a round pen, who you don't know yet, and he knows what he's gonna do before you do. And
Mm-hmm.
usually they throw a little more heart and try into it than a bucking horse in a chute, because that's his job. That's what he does. And so he goes out, he can half-ass it and it'll still be all right. But a colt, trying to ride a colt in a round pen, first couple rides, whatever, and he's blowing up, they're a little more unpredictable, because you don't know what they're going to do. And so I'd rather take the bucking horse in the chute all day long.
Well, a nasty bucking horse is gonna sunfish a little bit and spin and big drop or whatever. Like, but you know what's
Hmm.
nasty about him. A nasty
Yep.
colt might reach back and just grab a hold of your leg. You know,
Hmm.
like that horse don't know anything. Like he just knows you're not supposed to be on his back, and
Yeah.
so like yeah, like you said, it's a whole different game. But particularly with those like the rodeo buck and stock, where like you got analytics on them. Like you know what they're supposed to do, and
Yeah.
50% of the time they're gonna, or 70% of the time they're gonna do this, and that's a whole different deal. But that's where it becomes more like a sport too, and ranch bronc is really becoming like a sport. I really wouldn't be surprised to see it added to a lot of PRCA um, rodeos here in the next, I don't know, I wouldn't give a time frame, but I wouldn't be surprised to
I'd
see
say
it.
10 years. But I
Yeah.
mean, there's some PRC rodeos that have ranch broncs as their filler event, but not very many of them.
No, but I would not be surprised to see it become like a PRCA event, just because how different it is too. But like
Yeah.
it's always, you get started on ranch bronc, and then you move to saddle bronc. But those saddle bronc guys have been riding saddle bronc since they're like 10 years old too.
Hmm.
And so like that is, it's not so much, it's not as cowboy as ranch bronc, like
Yeah.
it's still cowboy, but it's a sport. It's not a, like, it's not a blue collar living, saddle
Yeah.
bronc compared to ranch bronc.
Hmm.
It's I don't know if that makes sense. It just, like, it started out as, it's still the, like, the ultimate cowboy sport, but man, it's a professional sport anymore. It's so
Yeah.
much, so far removed from the ranch anymore.
Well, and that's the same with team roping and calf roping and
Mm,
there,
yeah.
yeah, it's all the, it's the elite, it's the pro, it's the, they eliminated all the ifs, ands, or buts by, creating the rules and the times and
And see, that's
stuff
why all
like
the
that.
ranch, all your ranch guys and gals would way rather watch a ranch rodeo, because
Yeah,
it's
and
and even then that's not nearly like life on a ranch, but it's so much closer than what
yeah,
a
it's more
PRCA rodeo
original.
is. Yeah.
It simulates more of an original what would happen on the ranch than
Yeah.
the pro shows, but the pro shows are great too because that's the highest level you can ever achieve.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, and like
but
that's the best of our best, and like
yeah,
are they a hand most of the time? No, but man, can they spur down a bronc? Yeah, fuck yeah, they can. I mean,
yeah,
like the NFR this year, like they put on a show. Especially the Canadians really put on a show this year.
yeah.
Like they did good. But and I would assume a lot of those guys are pretty handy on the ranch too. But like that, it's just a different deal.
Hmm.
It's a different
It's a whole
deal. That's
different world, and I'm constantly having to explain to people the difference between ranch bronc and saddle bronc, and it's insane the amount of people that don't understand the difference. They're like, well, why don't you freehand it? And I'm like, well, don't you understand that saddle bronc wasn't even a thing back then? That it came around because of ranch bronc
well,
riding? Like, it's not the
yeah, and
original bronc riding. It's the modern day bronc riding, which is fine and great, but yeah, they didn't have saddle bronc saddles back then. Those were created.
mm-hmm.
Um, so it's still, even now, like even 2023, I'm still fighting people on well, and then being a woman on top of it doesn't help either. Like, well, you want to be equal, then why don't you freehand like the guys do? I'm like, because I'm not even in a saddle bronc saddle. That's
Well,
two
it's a different
completely
sport.
different events. It's a whole
Yeah.
different style of bronc riding. But
Well, like the only reason you don't freehand it is to get style points, and
yeah,
that's the beauty of saddle or ranch bronc anyways, is like, if as long as you can make it those first couple jumps, then it's just it's game on. You make it look
yeah,
pretty. And if you got
yeah, and
that, you got that horse, I mean, you can fan him, you can do baby powder, whatever you want.
hmm,
You can't do that in saddle bronc.
no, yeah,
And
saddle bronc, you're
that's one of the
pretty
cool
limited.
things. Yeah. And and that's where the cowboy shit comes in, because like, all right, like do something unique. If you got that horse for 3 jumps, fucking take a shot at him, and even
Yeah.
if you miss, you're gonna look good as you get bucked off over his head, and then
Yeah.
that's one of the cool things about ranch bronc. It's cowboy to the core. Like, that's how rodeo started. Is like, oh, that horse is bad. All right, let me show you this guy, and
Yeah.
I can ride him better than you. And that's how rodeo started. Or like, oh, you can rope that guy. I can rope him faster. Like
Competition between ranches.
yeah, and it's always been just cowboy shit. Just like, I can do that better.
Mm-hmm.
It's like and like when you're roping, it's like playing horse or something, like, all right, 30-foot turnover backhand. Oh fuck, I missed. All right. And the next guy, all he has to do is catch, and you're like, fuck. All right, well, next time I got you. I'm doing a turnover.
Yeah.
It's and the same way, like I'm gonna spur him in the neck 3 times and then fan him. And that's how rodeo started.
Yeah. As long as there are humans on this planet, there will always be competition. Everybody's always trying to one up somebody. That's how it is all the time.
So I have an idea for a rodeo. You're already out of competition because you're way too tall. You already said, you're almost 6 foot. Midget rodeos on Clydesdales.
Yeah.
We can either have midget Clydesdales or we can have midget humans. I don't care either way, but a midget has to ride a Clydesdale, or a regular sized person has to ride a midget Clydesdale.
Or both.
That's the require. Yeah, I mean, just if you're a regular sized human, you can't. I don't. Nah, maybe we'll just stick to midgets. Just midgets. It might be hard to find enough midget Clydesdales, But anyhow, like, you might be the coach for the ranch bronc on the midget rodeo.
Oh god.
Because you're the only one tall enough to lift them up on the horse.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then we can take all the bets. Like, we'll figure out, like, there'll be a bunch of different bets we could take on it. Like, we'll make money on it. Don't worry. You just got to be able to lift a midget yay high.
Oh, okay.
Do you think you can do it?
I hope so.
All right. Well, so you're in. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
So how does this new deal that you've started, how does it work? Where are you going? Yeah. How's it work? I guess
the schools.
Yes.
I am trying to put on 2 or 3, 4 to 6 a year, and I'm calling up contractors in different states that I know and building connections and asking about, because 50% of the school is having appropriate horses, right, for women to learn on and not get shit canned, on their very first one. And so trying to teach them properly, right? And so rodeos are the battle, and you got all this untrained army that really wants to do it, so they just throw themselves in a battle and they get killed off. And so instead of just providing all these rodeos for these women to come to, I'm trying to do the step before that and teach them how to do this first, so that they have the skill set to go off into open rodeos and compete on their own. Because I can't teach grit and passion. That's part of who you are. That's your personality. But so I'm teaching these 2-day schools. They can get on Bronx both days. It's like about 9 to 6, so it's a pretty full day. And I've had pretty dang good success with it. I've taught internationally, and I've taught one. I have one in Texas coming up in April, and so that one's full. Actually, it filled up in 2 days. So the demand is there, and I'm working on one in Wyoming, and I'm working on one in Washington, and I've got another one coming up in Montana. And so I've got this huge demand, and so I'm just trying to organize it and do everything I can to teach these girls how to do it properly, and they can go kick ass on their own instead of going to an open rodeo not knowing what to do, how to do it, because 80% of it is, you know, shoot procedure and having the proper gear to ride in and stuff like that. Because like I said, riding a bronc is easy. That's the fun part. But doing your homework is where everyone starts to get lazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's one thing, like you're saying, like shoot procedure. Like it's one thing to just step on a horse and go.
Right.
Um, but yeah, like rodeo is a whole different deal. Like it's fast. Like the stock contractors, get on them.
Yeah, and even your guys on the ground too, they'll pull the gate on you if you're not ready, or you're dinking around too much, or you're wiggling too much in the chute. Just nod and go. It should be 30 seconds or less. And I'm guilty of it too. I kind of sometimes I'll take a little bit longer, but the shoot procedure though, it's and I'm really big on safety, right? And I have no room to talk. I've broke 3 bones, but I'm real big on safety as far as being an instructor and being a teacher. I don't want to see no one get hurt because of something that I'm teaching them. And so I'm really big on that. I've never once lost my saddle on a bucking horse. It's never gone over the front of them. I've never lost it at a rodeo. None of that. It's never come loose off of one. And I like to think, you know, I take pride in that. It's been on almost 400 bucking horses and never lost my saddle. So big on teaching them that. Yeah, knowing teaching them how to feel, you know, if their saddle's too tight, too loose, that kind of stuff, and the placement of your saddle, because same thing, saddle bronc and ranch broncs are not the same thing. You're not meant to poke your broke horse in the eyeball, right? So your saddle does not need to be on their damn withers up their neck, because your riggins aren't going to line up with your cinches under that horse. And so that horse will slip out of that saddle every single time. And I've bet money on it every time. And so you have to saddle them like a regular horse. You could probably put it up just a little bit more, but everyone wants to shove it up their neck like a saddle bronc. And it's like, it's not going to work. But so stuff, all those little things that people think that they need to do, and it all adds up. So that's 80% of what I'll teach at these schools.
That's awesome. What's the saddle you're riding right now? Like, what's your go-to bronc saddle?
I ride in Corianis because they're cheap and they are damn sure tough enough to take a beating. And so, you know, if a horse does break one, whatever, rolls on it, smashes in the chute, breaks the tree, I'm not out a whole lot of money, and I can pretty well easily find another one. But I will not, and I do not encourage anyone to ride bucking horses with a broken tree. I think that's ignorant and disrespectful as hell to the horse and the contractor who raises that horse, and makes their living off of that horse. And so I'm on my second saddle. My first one lasted about 6 years, and it finally broke. The cantle broke off of it when a horse reared back in the chute and smashed it. So
that's good for any like production saddle, but especially for a Coriani that you're riding ranch broncs on. That's pretty tough. That's a good little commercial for Coriani right there.
Yeah, I got 6 years and about 300 horses out of it. So and I still have the saddle. It's sitting in the nose of my trailer. Nice. Can't get rid of it.
But what kind of, are you ride a swell fork, or are you a wade tree?
I'm on a slick fork.
Oh, okay. You got rolls on it or no?
No, I did ride with buck rolls for a long time, and
what else do they call those bucking rolls?
Squaw tits, I'm sure.
I got her to say squaw tits.
Yeah. I've been on this war path about trying to figure out how to move my feet for years and years and years, and I finally connected my brain to my feet last year, and then I broke my arm at that rodeo. And so now I've been.
So what are the other 2 bones that you broke?
I broke my collarbone and my ankle.
That's a typical bronc rider move.
Yeah. Yeah, broke my collarbone, snapped my radius in my forearm, and broke the inside of my tibia on my right leg.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, so
you've had a good career there. It seems like
yeah, I've had
that's
bad things happen in threes, so I'm done now.
you. Yes, I think you're 100%
Nope.
good now.
Yeah, I'm done now. I done breaking bones. I figured out my feet. Kind of doing pretty good this year, so feel really good.
Well, and you're like 9 foot tall, so you only got a couple more years before you start to worry about your knees. So
Yeah, no, I'm pretty good physical wise. My lower back is compressed from having that arch in my back riding Broncs for so long, but that's the only consequence I have physically from
you know
riding.
what helps that? Collagen.
Oh yeah.
For real. That it
Yeah.
helps your joints.
No,
And
I do take a joint supplement actually.
okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. And if you need a discount code, go to bubsnaturals.com.
Hmm.
Promo code Burnin Daylight. You get 20% off your collagen. It's good stuff. Um,
Okay,
but
that's cool.
that stuff actually does work. I've used it
Hmm.
for like 2 months now, and my joints, like my ankles are like fucked. Uh, I've had so I've been in the feedlot for coming up on 15 years, like full time, and like when your horse goes down in the feedlot, it's usually because they step on a piss spot and their feet just go,
Hmm.
and it's like it's quick enough to where you can't get your feet kicked loose, and yeah, and it's happened on both sides, and my ankles are just mangled them, like I was riding a big horse at the time. It was like he was about 1250, something like that. I mean, he's a big dude,
Yeah.
and ooh, yeah. But yeah, anyway, that collagen helps. It seems like my ankles don't hurt quite so bad on those cold mornings. So
When
anyway,
I
I
broke my ankle, I actually the rodeo before, um, the guy that was heading my horse out didn't head the horse out, and so he came out kind of backwards and then back in the chute. Anyway, he flipped around, so my left ankle actually got stuck in the chute gate, and it ripped me off the horse.
oh
Tore all the ligaments. There's 4 ligaments in your ankle. Tore all of them. I didn't know that. I thought I just sprained it real bad. So I'm limping around and go to this rodeo the next day, and it was kind of 50% better. I'm like, oh, I'll be okay. Taped it
could
up,
you
and
turn your foot all the way around? Because that'd be kind of cool.
I don't know. I don't know. The video doesn't show that, but yeah. And then
You
when I
didn't
got
try
on
it
again the
though. I
next
mean,
day,
it couldn't have hurt that bad.
yeah, it just buckled and snapped every time I tried to walk on it. And I was like,
Oh,
oh, I just sprained it. No, it's flopping around. But I got on the next day, and halfway through that ride, it shot a pain shoot like up my leg, and it
mm.
did that to my hand. Like
Oh yeah,
you know what I
like
mean?
you got
It just
like
like
you got tased or something. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And so
yeah, I know
I
what you
let
mean.
go of my Bronc rein and came off. And so trying to
How high
avoid
did you
my
go?
left, huh?
How high did you go?
I was pretty high up in the air.
I
And so
bet.
like
I bet
mid
if you just
because it
let
was it
go.
was right, yeah, it was when he came down, that's when it shot up my leg. And so when that horse was coming up, I came out.
Did
And
you
so
helicopter at all?
no. So
Oh, dang it.
midair, I was trying to avoid my landing on my left side, so I landed on my right side, but my ankle was turned in, and I landed on my ankle first and snapped it. So I couldn't walk
Oh.
for about 3 months.
Yeah, I bet so.
So I was
Oh.
in a wheelchair for
Oh,
3 months because of that.
that just sent a pain up my side thinking about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that
that's
that was
rough.
the first bone I ever broke was my ankle.
Oh, I've
So when
never
I did
actually
it, I
snapped a bone. I've been
did
really
it good.
lucky. I'm gonna knock on wood. I've had like the spider web fractures, like where it like breaks on the inside, but never actually like the bone never actually snaps.
Oh
But
yeah.
I've like both of my wrists, like they, you can see like it's like spider web or like
Mhm.
compression fracture, whatever they call that, where it doesn't actually break to the outside. But I've had that on both
Yeah.
my wrists, and yeah, there for a while, like when it would get cold and windy, my like I just have to shake my hands because my wrists would just get to hurting so bad.
That's what my ankle was, a non-displaced fracture. It was just kind of cracked, it never broke
Yeah.
off. And then
Ugh.
my collarbone actually wasn't broke. It was bent like that at a
Oh
point.
yeah.
So it was actually sticking out of my, it never broke skin, but it was stuck out like an inch. So it kind of looked like a hunchback, I guess, but on the front.
Did you kiss it goodnight?
You know? Yeah. So every time I turned my neck, it would touch it. So my surgeon actually broke it to fix it.
See,
So
that's what
I,
you should have done, and see if there's any young fella that was kind of sniffing up your way. You could just been like, la, la, la. And if
yeah,
he
it
didn't
was,
puke,
I could get
if
a
he
hold,
didn't
I could
puke,
get a hold of it and move it around. It was
oh,
gross. And then,
I bet.
and then my arm is the one I actually snapped in half. So I've had three different breaks, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Well, I mean, for 400 bucking horses, that ain't bad.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to double those numbers quite a bit. So a long ways to
Yeah.
go.
Well, yeah, for sure. But I mean, that's a pretty good career already. I mean, that's not a
Hmm.
bad start, huh?
Yeah, I feel like I wasted a lot of time, but now I'm playing catch up. But yeah, it's crazy to think it's been 8 years of this.
Yeah. So, and you just turned 30, so 2022 is when you started, huh?
Yeah, I
Or
think
21.
21 or something like that.
That's cool. Is there anyone else in the like the lady ranch bronc world that it has it's kind of got like is there are there other Brittany Millers out there? Because you're
Like
kind of
at
the only one I
my
I
level.
know of. Well, you're kind of the only one that I know of, anyways. But like, I haven't paid much attention, I guess.
Yeah, there's quite a few women that ride consistently, competitively. They kind of the ones that I know of stay with an association that they're in right now. But as far as women that compete in the open, like against the guys, as much as me, I don't know of any. Like there is kind of now, but not really, not really. Or at least I
Hmm.
don't know of. At least I don't know him, and I feel like I'm kind of a creeper. And so anytime I see a girl on Facebook or any kind of social media that has been on a ranch bronc, I get to creep it on them. And so I feel like
Well,
I would
at
know.
6 foot tall, you might actually be a creeper.
Yeah, yeah. And I straight tell them that yeah, I'll tell any of the girls to their face that yeah, I creep on you. I know who you are. You ride ranch broncs. I know who you are.
I ride
So
better than you, bitch.
yeah, so I'm slightly jealous and competitive that way, but I do creep on every girl that has ever been on a ranch bronc. I know them. I won't go
Nice,
so far as to say I write them down in a book, but I could
but
be
she
that
definitely
person.
does.
I could be. It's there. I just haven't done it.
She will though. Don't worry.
I mean,
She's gonna
I have
ride
a
it.
book I have a book of broncs that I've been on, but
Oh yeah.
not for women.
Is it like one of those little red ranch books?
No, it's just a Walmart notebook that I've had for years that I write
Oh,
down
come
every
on. We
horse I've
we
been
we
on.
gotta come on. You gotta go with like a stack of red ranch books every
That yeah,
year.
that would have been good, but no.
I mean, well, women. What do you know?
I mean,
Like
I could go
you can't.
rewrite it. It might take me a while.
Uh, yeah, but then you gotta go find like back red books, because you gotta write it
Hmm.
per year, and they only get one a year, and
Yeah.
It's a whole process. So yeah, I'm sure you're fine. I'm sure you're fine. um. So like when you go ride these open ranch broncs, like are you winning consistently or?
No, because like I said, when I started, I entered every damn thing I could find, and I've been trying lately. I've been trying to play it smart and try to enter the lower medium caliber horses at these open rodeos that I know I can cover where I'm at now until I am riding consistently enough where it'll still even now build my confidence, and then I'll go get on a high caliber horse, and then I'll back off, go get on a medium one. So I'm trying to go a different route because the last 5-6 years I would enter all these open rodeos and then just get my ass kicked all the time. So
Mm.
consistently I was getting bucked off, yes, but every now and then I would cover one. But as far as I need to step back and start doing it properly again, and then the results will show, and then I can start doing that. But I
Uh,
don't really think things through. I kind of do it the tough, gritty, dumb way.
Cowboy shit, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, here's a question for you. Has anybody's wife came at you because you beat their husband in the ranch bronc?
No.
Oh,
As far as I
well,
know,
no,
the
no,
only
no, no.
time,
She's like, you beat my husband, you dirty bitch.
no, that
I
no.
would pay to
Usually
see
people
that,
don't
by the
talk.
way.
Usually people don't talk to me. So the
Really?
only time that's ever something similar to that has happened is when I got off on the pickup man, but I kind of jumped. It was pretty far away, and
Mm-hmm.
so I accidentally got a hold,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah. You
yeah, and
did
so
did a little check there.
yeah, and so the wife come up to me after the rodeo and chewed my ass about being careful where I grab next time. So that's
Did
the
you
only
slap her
time
around? That's what I would have done.
that's the only time that's ever happened. I looked at her like that obviously was not the first thing on my mind. I was literally just trying to save my ass and get off the
I
bucking horse.
didn't
I don't
reach
know if you
across the
saw
arena to
that,
grab
but
your
I
husband's
was riding a
dick.
bucking horse
Sorry.
and I wanted off the damn thing. I didn't care who I grabbed. I could have
His
grabbed the
dick
horse's head.
happened to be there, not my fault.
Yeah, so that's the only time that's ever happened, and that was just once.
Okay. Well, I mean that's pretty good. I could see some of these ranch bronc wives that might get a little
Really?
perturbed if yeah, maybe. I can see it.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't know. I don't.
if you had told me that you had gotten to a fight, I would not have been surprised.
No, never been in a fight.
Well, all right. Well,
Like I said, usually people don't talk
so
to me.
much
I
for the
go to
good
a rodeo and
stories,
everyone's
daylight
like,
burners.
"Don't look at Brittany. Don't talk to Brittany."
Ah,
Usually do my own thing.
you'll be all right. Well, and when you're 6 foot tall, be like, shut up, little
Yeah,
lady, get out
pretty
of here.
intimidating to most people. That, and I'm too socially awkward to go change that perspective anyway. So
That's all right. That's one thing is like people who are particularly good at one event, and I'd say like you're pretty good at riding a ranch bronc. Um, yeah, they tend to be a little bit socially awkward too because like they focus everything on that one deal, and then like I don't know how to do
that's all I
this.
got.
Yeah, like
I don't know how to do anything
what do
else.
you want from me?
Yeah. This is no different than talking. I don't know how to talk unless it's about rodeo.
Well, we've gone for 59 minutes. We've done pretty good. So you're you're
Yeah,
you're all right. You're all right.
yeah. See, the time flies when I talk about rodeo, but if
It's
it's
all right.
small talk
Well,
or anything else, it's like 4 seconds went by.
there you go. Well, have you had a good time?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, good. Well, that's all I hope that you've had fun. Like it is not a waste of your time.
No, it's not.
All right. Well, That's good. You got about 20 minutes left in you?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. All right. We'll end this for the main session. And then we'll uh I got a few questions for you, and we'll do that on the Patreon side of things. So I'll pull us back off the screen, do my theme song, and then I gotta go to take a leak, and then when we're back on the screen, we'll be back again. So
Okay.
anyway, anything you want people to know about what you got going on and where they can find it?
I made a Facebook page for the schools that I've been teaching. If anyone is interested in signing up, I'll post on that pretty regularly as I finalize details. But it's called Western Women's Ranch Bronc, and it's primarily just teaching schools. I'm not an association. I'm flattered that people think that, but I'm not an association, not yet anyway. Maybe 10 years down the road, but
Awesome. All right. So Western, what's it
Women's
called
Ranch
again?
Bronc.
Western Women's Ranch Bronc. Go find it. Brittany Miller, this has been a fun conversation. We'll see you back here in about 2 minutes, and if you guys want to hear some more Bronx stomping stories, sign up at patreon.com/burning daylight. Brittany, it's been fun. Thank you for joining us, and move your ass. We're burning daylight.
Your eyes up in the morning, beneath the stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horse is kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. We'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Well, life is just a gather, and you won't catch 'em all. But when you ride through the gate, make sure you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight.
All right, we're back. We're back.